I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Jumpy and Ghosty.
Blue.
For timely topical commentary.
Check
out our
genocide.
other YouTube channel.
Yeah, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori.
But in the meantime, we are doing a patron pick, and this one is, how do you say that, babe?
Xasthur,
yeah.
Disharmonic Convergence, Prison of Mirrors.
This is a one-man band.
Really?
Look, this is a one-man band like Burzum.
Okay, this is black metal.
Atmospheric black metal.
And then this, on Friday the 8th of November, we are doing a rockathon where we help share with some of our fellow villagers. 100% of the proceeds are going to go to that GoFundMe project that we've been launching for the last 60 days. Please be there, be square. If it's a 19-hour affair and people keep putting out those 25s for us to do a song review, then we'll be there for 19 hours. If only 2 people want a song review, then we'll be there for half an hour.
So
yeah, Sori's gonna eat. Y'all know the deal.
I'm gonna set up something. I'll make a good chicken pot pie.
I am totally committed.
Give me another piece, guys.
Completely committed to finishing out this week.
You haven't been eating anything,
right?
Anyway.
Right. Okay. And then somebody's going to win one of these nifty shirts. This is the Until We Die shirt. Yeah. And I do believe it has taken over the Sori Secret shirt as my favorite shirt.
Me too.
I designed...
I as well. Babe, this chair that I sit in sucks.
I designed the Sori Secret shirt.
Very uncomfortable.
All right, let's get these lyrics now.
Okay, get those lyrics up. And then they said basically like Wolves in the Throne Room reaction. They said try not to, you know, if you have to look at the screen and read all the lyrics and da-di-da-di-da-di, do that. But it's better if you just sit back and just take in the song as an experience.
Who said that? Is that big homie, who's that? Damon? Alright, well, if Damon says it, I'll listen to him, so I'll only peek at the lyrics, okay? Alright, let's go. Convergence, Prison of Mirrors, Xasthur, Disharmonic Convergence, and then Prison of Mirrors. Alright, ready?
Ready?
Go!
Go. was an interesting
What's your thoughts?
I think it was a good song to think about your the consequences of your actions. Like thinking about...
That's what the music was telling you?
Yeah.
Or were you looking at the lyrics inside?
No, I wasn't. I did read the lyrics, and I know that's not what the lyrics were talking about. The lyrics are something interesting all in and of themselves. But you can't hear... I'm very curious to know if there are people that can actually understand that aside from the lyrics. Like, if you don't have the lyrics, can you understand what that sounds like?
Impossible.
That's what I think, but I don't know. Maybe there are people that understand that.
BM fan, he said that the Converge song, initially, he didn't like because of the vocal style, but then he got used to it. I think a lot of these bands are like an acquired taste after a certain amount of time. Like, the musicianship draws you, and then after a while, it's kind of like what happened to us with Painkiller. Like, after a while, you hear it over and over again, your brain's like, oh, actually, no, these are...
Yeah, it's alright, actually.
Yeah, so... I don't know why the brain does that, but I think this is one of those bands, right? Where it's like...
I totally agree.
I think he's investing in the idea that the music is going to be so captivating that people take the time to listen to the point where they like the vocal style. Yeah. But I agree with you. I mean, I couldn't really hear a lot of what he was saying. Yeah. Sonically, it was definitely very atmospheric, like you said, atmospheric death black metal. But I just felt like the song went way too long. Oh, I mean,
that's why I said it's a good song to think about your actions.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with a long song if there's some variety, but there wasn't much variety. I mean, the end part for sure, but which also went for like 3.5 minutes. So that kind of was tough to me. I was like, why do we need to keep doing this? Like, cut the song short by 6 minutes or do another kind of movement, instrumentally speaking. So
no, I totally agree with you on that. That's why I said for me it'd be like a thinking song, because you're not going to think through something in 6 minutes. You know, you got to really brood over it and think through it and stuff. Right. And then the ending kind of having like that sad whatever sound is, you know, the inevitable end of your bad decisions that you've made in your life. So.
And apparently there's only 2 songs. I mean, this is called Subliminal Genocide. Apparently there's only 2 songs.
What the heck?
This song and Trauma Will Always Linger. And that's the end of it, which I'm assuming that's like a 45-minute song.
That's a big, giant song, because I had to upload the whole thing here, and I think the whole thing was like an hour and...
What's that song called? Let's see if it was 45 minutes. Trauma Will Always Linger.
This thing is like... like an hour and 10 minutes for that song, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Trauma Will Always Linger. So I'm guessing it's a 45-minute song. It's only 8 minutes.
Huh? Well, there's something we don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Obviously. Yeah, so this song is a little bit long for me. And like I said, I don't necessarily have a problem with long songs if you can get enough variety and uniqueness in the musicianship and stuff to where it justifies it. But I felt like this was going on too long. But on the other hand, I thoroughly believe, like with some of these reviews, a lot of it has to do with our
personal our personal headspace at the time.
Well, that's obviously one, but I think, like, for me, like, if I have a perception that a song is going to do a certain thing and then it goes the other way, I'm immediately like, oh, this is a bad song.
What did you think it was going to do?
Well, I thought it was going to be a black metal song, kind of fast-paced, Magua, Batushka type thing. You know, because Magua is a black metal band, so I'm like thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be like that. But it was just a lot more brooding and slow and kind of grind you into the ground. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying it's like, you know, when you pick up a bottle and you expect it's going to be a Sprite and you drink it, it's a water. It's like, ew, this is gross. Yeah. Well, no, it's just you had an expectation, so now you're going to say that water's gross. If you had an expectation for water, you wouldn't say that.
You'd say that Sprite was gross.
So,
I get your point.
So that's kind of what I'm looking at in this song. It's like, okay, did I not like the song because it was different from what I thought it was going to be? Or did I not like the song because of the length and the fact that there were no real tempo or no
change? I mean, even if you look at the sound line, it's like really essentially the same all the way across. It doesn't make a whole lot of variation in this line. Right. And I agree that sonically it really didn't go a whole lot of places. Again, that's why I said it would be like a brooding song, something you think through the implications of something and take that as like, okay, I'm just gonna dim the lights and I'm just gonna think. at this point in my life, I don't, like, that creates a certain type of headspace, and while I do engage in that headspace at different times, at this point I'm not. So,
right.
It's not a song that for me is functional right now. But I still think,
yeah, but
the topic, though.
This song is not designed to help people, it doesn't say. The prison of mirrors we can't see, yet trapped we are by its reflection. It sees all fear and watches our downfall. It will rip all lies and pride from the soul. You are all that you hate. Forced memory, suffer humiliation, victim of darkness of the inner hidden kind. I am the eye within the gleam. Shatter before a mirror that stares into a shallow soil.
Is this a
soul?
Like literal mirror?
I don't know yet. I'm just reading the lyrics for the audience. Poison yourself. Revel in waste. Poison yourself in the name of evil. Destroy yourself.
Yeah.
I will always be the reason to hate yourself. Mirrors will oppress your mind and follow all that you hide. Blind, step aside.
Step inside
a subconscious warfare to glide the oblivious. Mirrors of torture, unforgiving. Expose your sins. Your suicide by the mirror's shattered blade. So it looks to me, it's a strange thing because he says poison yourself in the name of evil. Destroy yourself. So he's saying that is an evil thing to do. But at the same time, he's prescribing it. You know, there's that whole story with that girl, and I talked about it a couple of videos ago, where the girl was encouraging the kid to kill himself over and over again. The kid eventually ended up doing it. I mean, she was crazy. She was like, "You said you were going to do it before. You're never going to take your opportunity." Blah blah blah. Like, she was crazy. Like, it was unbelievable, unbelievable. So then it's like, okay, somebody hears this song.
You know, literally do not know what could be going on in that child's mind.
Yeah, she was 15, 16 when they were going back. I mean, the kid kept saying, "I'm nervous, man. I don't know." He's like, "I don't know why I'm so nervous." And she's like, you gotta get over it. Go for it.
What the heck?
And there was this other one that I saw. It was the worst one, where this guy was on top of a building.
Oh, yeah.
And people kept telling the guy to jump, and he ended up doing it. And so, like, you hear...
I hate seeing the depth of depravity in human beings. Like, after a 9/11 and everybody comes together and they're helping people in the streets and they're helping... Like, I love seeing that side of human beings, or the way that we, you know, people will help the poor, or, you know, bring a sandwich to somebody that's homeless holding a sign. Like, there's different things that humanity does that you're just baffled by the goodness of mankind. And then there is levels of atrocity that is so disgusting and dripping with such evil that it's like, how can such contradictions reside in the same being? But that's what we are.
Image of God.
Wild contradiction, yeah.
Image of God, original sin. There you go.
Yeah.
And that explains it. But yeah, so then like Fade to Black got a lot of flack because people were saying it was encouraging suicide. It wasn't. He was just expressing how he felt. There was nothing prescriptive. It was descriptive. He was describing what he felt. This song is prescriptive.
Yeah.
It's imperative sentences. Do this to yourself. Do that to yourself. And so it's like some kid listens to the song and does something loco. Like, to what degree are these guys held accountable? I just think, like, artists are in this weird kind of, like, bubble where they're allowed to pretty much say whatever without... in the Western world, without any repercussions. This
is interesting because that's not how I read these lyrics.
Okay.
So, the prison of mirrors, I took it literally. So it's literally mirrors, and that our society is filled with mirrors. I had this dream the other night that, you know, on Spartacus, the one that would wear the red wig?
Yeah.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Okay, well, remember the blonde girl that she would hang around with, that younger one that was crazy?
Yeah,
they were both crazy,
they were
actually.
both crazy.
But that's not a spoiler. Maybe it is. Anyway, so in my dream, you know how they were, like, they would, like, look deeply at each other, they would kiss each other in the mouth, and they would... But both of them walked around like they were, like...
They own the joint.
Yes, they were, like, God's gift to mankind. And, like, in my dream, I was watching them, and they were talking to each other like they were in the show, and then the one with the red wig, she turned around and there was a mirror, because in that show there wasn't mirrors. So there was mirrors because she was actually more in our time, and she turned and she saw herself in the mirror, and then she became self-conscious, and so then she started like kind of like hunching over and kind of like feeling more like whatever. And then as soon as she saw herself and her own reflection, she wasn't as great as she thought she was. So then it then reflected on her face, and then she actually got more ugly the moment like that she looked in the mirror. And then everything kind of went downhill, and then she was trying to get away from the mirror because she wanted her perception of herself to go back up to like regular, but she couldn't. It was like she was kind of entrapped by the mirror, and like every time that she would come by it, it would like upset her more, and she would age and get more ugly. And then she got the blonde girl over there to the mirror, and the same thing happened to her when she saw her own reflection, because there's a sense in which you, like, there's some times where, I don't know if this happens for everybody, but there's sometimes I'm like, man, like, I am on point today. And then I'll see, like, a picture, I'll be like, yeah, no, really? That's what it looked like? You know what I mean? So, like, but that's like a picture, or a mirror will kind of, like, show you something else. So when this said prison of mirrors, we can't see, is that we don't realize that we're in a prison by the mirrors, but we are, because people are, you know, when you go to a rock show, they don't have mirrors in some of the bathrooms, because it will literally slow that line down so much that, you know, when there's no mirrors, the girls are in and out of that bathroom. Nothing to look at. You put mirrors, everybody slows down. They're checking their outfits, checking their makeup, checking everything to make sure everything's perfect before they go out. And it says, so the prison of mirrors we can't see. So we can't see that we're in a prison, yet trapped we are by its reflection. So we're trapped by what we see when we look in the mirror, how we perceive ourselves. It sees all fear and watches our downfall. It will rip all lies and pride from the soul. So like, he's kind of, it seemed to me like he was kind of making the mirror a person, or making the mirror like a being that traps us, and then it sees like our fears. Like, because when you look in the mirror, that's when you begin to see like, ooh, that's like something about me. And I've heard people say like, I hate the person that I see in the mirror. Some people get rid of mirrors because they can't face themselves. They don't want to see themselves in the mirror. They hate what they see, not necessarily because they're ugly. I mean, there are people that that's the case, but some is just, you just hate who you are. And when you're face to face with yourself in the mirror, you're like, that person. And so it said it will rip all lies and pride from the soul, because there's certain pride that we have, or certain, you know, lies that we can keep about ourselves to make ourselves feel better. But when you're face to face with your own reflection, it's like, I mean, no, you know, you've been gorging yourself on certain goodies, and so you are the weight that you are. You know what I mean? Like, the mirror's not gonna lie to you. Like, that's you. It's gonna strip the pride from your soul, because it's gonna tell you, the mirror is gonna tell you the truth about yourself if you can see it correctly. But that's the thing. Then there's like body dysphoria and different things. So then we get all whacked out. So then he says, you are all that you hate. Because again, that's that self-hatred that comes like from, you know, just like how you can have personally, but then the mirror can add to that. Like I said, you look in the mirror, you're like, this guy again, or this me again. Force-fed memories suffer humiliation. That I didn't understand how that kind of fit in. Victim of darkness of the inner hidden kind. So it was like that you like are a victim of your own darkness, the same lies that you tell yourself or whatever that you try to hide. I am the eye within the gleam. So, which is weird, because you usually say the gleam of the eye.
Well, usually it's eye of the storm.
Eye of the storm, or there's a gleam in their eye.
Right.
So I am the gleam, I am the eye within the gleam. That again, I was a little confused. I was like, I bet there's something cool there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't see how that's exclusive to that. How that negates him saying poison yourself, destroy yourself. Because
he says shatter before a mirror that stares into a shallow soul. So he's saying like the person is shallow, but it sounds like the mirror is saying shatter before a mirror that stares into a shallow soul. Like the mirror is saying that, like the mirror has something. The mirror's like, you shatter before me with your shallow soul.
Yeah, but
and then hold on, pull the lyrics back up, and I'll tell you the rest.
Well, yeah, I agree, but if you're saying the mirror is telling him to do that, then how's that different from...
Because the mirror is a prison, and it's a trap, and so it's a negative thing. The mirror is not personified positively.
Well, I agree, that's my point.
So then the mirror says, poison yourself, revel in waste, poison yourself in the name of evil, destroy yourself. I will always be the reason to hate yourself. mirrors will oppress your mind and
Honey,
follow all that you hide. How is that a bad thing?
How does that...
Because you're supposed to see, wait a minute, like, this is a reflection of myself, and that thing that is trapping me and in trying to enslave me is the very thing that's telling me I should destroy myself. No, I shouldn't destroy myself. Like, it's that thing that's saying it.
Huh?
What don't you understand?
First of all, I don't believe that the mirror's talking in these lyrics. Because when you look in a mirror, you're just seeing yourself.
You are just seeing yourself, but I feel like you personified the mirror as a thing.
I just think it's part of him. But again, that doesn't negate the imperative to destroy yourself.
Yes, but it's coming from a negative place. Well, so it's not like he's saying, you know, life is whatever, you should kill yourself. I feel like the mirror, who's a bad character, is the one that's, like, bringing those thoughts. So then it's like, no, you shouldn't listen to that bad trapping character.
I think that you're rationalizing a state of mind that's not rational. And number two, I don't believe that the mirror is the problem. The problem is what the person sees in the mirror, namely themselves.
Yeah.
So it's himself. In my opinion, it's the self wrestling with each other about whether or not to do this deed. So there's part of him that wants to live, and there's part of him that wants to die, and the part of him that wants to die, he's personifying as the mirror person, but it's really just still him. And I understand, logically speaking, if he says, I am evil, destroy yourself, then you're saying, well, that's to be avoided. But if we go into the world of black metal, everything's upside down. So it's not like you're going to listen to Behemoth and go, oh shit, Satan's bad. Like, he's being portrayed as evil, but at the same time, he is evil. And that is something to be celebrated in Behemoth's universe. So what I'm saying is, yeah, I get it, the guy's calling himself evil, but that doesn't negate the fact that he is at some level instructing this person to kill themselves. And there's you know that song we did a couple days ago, like the nihilistic one, and the first half of it was nihilism, nihilism, and then it's like, well, if you have to climb the mountain, enjoy the view. Yeah. Like, so there was some sort of like reconciliation to those ideas, so that you could look at the first half of the song and go, okay, that guy was bad. There's nothing like that here. It just goes, kill yourself, and then at the end, you're suicide by the mirror's shattered blade. Yeah,
it seems like that the only way for him or her to shatter the mirror and the power that the mirror had on it, or the reflection of themselves, is by killing themselves.
Right, because...
And then so they shatter the mirror, but they use the shattered mirror to kill themselves, so it, like, cancels the whole thing out, because they're now dead.
Right, so I think that these, you know...
And I think that's a really smart line. You're suicide by the mirror's shattered blade.
It's a very good line, but I think songs like this are dangerous. And I don't think they're dangerous for people who are otherwise stable. But just like I said about Trump, people on the edge, you know, a lot of times people on the edge are just looking for one more excuse to do something. So the people that want to live look for excuses to live, and the people that want to die look for excuses to die. So I just think, because there's no reconciliation here with both selves in this song, it just leaves it with, okay, go kill yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, Trauma Will Always Linger. It doesn't seem to me to be a song that kind of ties that up in a bow. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think your breakdown was well put. I just think that it's probably more straightforward than that, and I think that it's you know, dealing with self-hate is a major issue.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people have self-hate, or maybe it's not maybe it's not self-hate. Maybe it's more just because obviously we're Christians, so we believe in, like, positive and negative forces of good and evil. So if we were, you know, the Bible says that we're created in the image of God, so obviously every single one of us human beings is extremely special to God. And then, like, you have the devil who, you know, wanted to take God's place. He gets cast out of heaven, and then he has, like, this sort of hatred toward people made in God's image, because hating his image is like hating him. So there's a sense in which he's going to want you to feel those negative things. And so I'm not sure how much of it is like you literally hate yourself, or it's just that you're listening to all the lies that kind of pop into your head from negative forces.
We talked about that at the Bible Boogie.
Really?
Where we were talking about the voice of Satan and the voice of God. And the voice of God is always... You can be better, we're going to make it, you're going to be okay. And then the voice of the devil is always destructive. You know, you came to steal, kill, and destroy. And it's people. I asked the people, I'm like, do you ever hear you?
That's what I was just gonna say.
You were ugly, you're this, you're that, I'm like, well, wait a second, you're talking about yourself in the third person, or maybe something is talking to you.
Right.
Like, look, if you think it's hocus pocus, great, I get it, but you gotta at least test the theory. Like, these people are hearing somebody else talk about them to themselves, and it's
when
not
you
like
ever do that.
In schizophrenia, you know, like Armour pointed out very succinctly, in schizophrenia, the majority of it is they hear an audible voice outside of themselves. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about hearing in your mind, and it's you. And
yep.
I just think I think there are some dark intelligences at work, and I think it's very, very destructive. But, you know, at the same time, it's one of these songs are one of those things where it's like, okay, and it's called subliminal genocide. That's the other thing. So it's like, what is the intentionality of this artist here? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yep. Yeah,
I think
that's
sometimes, you know, art is a very, 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 very powerful tool, and sometimes if it gets in the hands of the wrong people, it's disastrous. But this guy's a one-man band?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God. The talent of some people is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust me, fellas, if you heard me in a one-man band, you'd know that there's only one guy. That's for sure.
You would think it was one child if you heard mine. You know what I think? You know, like you and Zoe fascinate me in ways. I mean, Dorian too, but really you and Zoe. You guys are very, very secure in who you are and what you like and what you don't like, and it really doesn't matter like what people say to you guys. Like, you have it in your head that, you know, like Zoe for the most part thinks that she's like just really, really awesome. You know, she said she was cool back then in like the old Sori Life videos, but she's definitely cooler now. I mean, not that she wasn't cool. And so like, but she like knows who she is, and you've raised her to have a certain level of respect for yourself. You know, she'll see, you know, a music video with a girl that's, you know, she's barely clothed, she's throwing her body all around for people to just feast off of, and she doesn't like that. She says that girl has no respect for herself. Like, she said that, you know, like, I honestly, I don't even think that when I see those videos. I'm like, wow, that's a really cool move. I don't even think that. And she said that. I was like, oh,
for sure.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with this song?
So anyway, my point is, like, knowing who you are is extremely important, because it helps you when negative feedback comes toward you, whether it's from other people or from yourself or from some other whatever. Like, you have to know who you are. And so, you know, she knows who she is, and she's very confident in that. So, you know, people say some horrible things or whatever in our comment section, like, because I do the videos with the girls, and some people said some rude things in there, and she thought it was absolutely hilarious. Some people have a mental breakdown because somebody said negative things about them. But she thinks it's funny because it doesn't matter what you say about her, she has her own opinion about herself. And that's way stronger than anything that you could ever say. You're just simply wrong to her. And it's just... So I think that, you know, in situations like this, when you're hearing you this or you that, and it's all these negative things, that's because you don't know who you actually are. And that's, you know, as Christians, we're like, okay, well, and the Bible says we're made in the image of God. So we have a specific purpose, and we have importance just in the fact that God made us. So that's it. So all of like that negative stuff, you can say, well, that's not true. You know, but a lot of people don't know, you know, what their importance is, especially if you're coming from a thought that everything on this earth is not really,
just
you know,
random.
Yeah, it's just kind of thrown here, and here we go, and we popped out of nowhere, and so then you have no purpose, you have no value. So you got to create your own. Well, what if you're not good at creating your own value? What if everything that you do turns to sand? Some people touch anything, it turns to gold. It's like, how does that work out for that person all the time? And there's some people that it's like every time that they try to do something, they fuck it up. They fuck this up, they fuck that. It's like a whole life of just, what do they say, the fucking has started. You know, like, if you're that type of a person, it's like, you feel valueless. But if you have something else where your value is rooted in, something outside of yourself, that, you know, it's not about what you do or what you don't do. It's just who you are. It's just a completely different thing. And I think that if that's the type of person you are, then you're not running around by thoughts, you know, like this. And I don't know.
What do you give the song?
Oh, I'm gonna go with a. Again, I think it was a bit long. 6.
Yeah, it's a 7.4 for me. I like the atmosphere, and again,
I like the ending atmosphere.
The reason I'm not giving it a 6 or something like that is because I'm factoring the Sprite water dynamic.
Yeah, the reason I gave it a 6 is because I was actually going to give it an 8, but I bumped it down to a 6 because once we talked about it, I don't like stuff that is going to push somebody in a direction. Yep. You know, if your interpretation is correct. If I go by my interpretation, then it would be an 8. So right. You, dear listener, can decide whether it's a 6 or an 8, depending on who you agree with.
There you are. Vin out.
Sori out.
Down.